Hey, Bobby Manning here. Noah Dalzell alongside Celtics now 3-0 against the Knicks this season. Own the tiebreaker, own a significant advantage in the standings now as well. It looks like they're going to be at the very least the 2 seed here, though. 2-3 still lines up the Celtics-Knicks if both make it to the second round and stay in their seeding positions. So the Knicks stressing after this game that they still have one more game in April. There's still a playoff series potentially ahead between these two teams, so it's not over yet. Nice third quarter comeback. Gave them some silver lining in this game as well. And the Celtics not too excited to jump on their grave. Most of them hesitant to say how dominant that they've been against the Knicks this year, but they have been.
Yeah, I think they're smart in that. You don't want to give the opposing team fuel at all. But yeah, this Knicks team was not the team that I envisioned heading into the season. I thought these acquisitions, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Karl-Anthony Towns has played at a really high level, so it's not like on an individual level Brunson or Cat have had bad seasons, but it just hasn't meshed the way that I expected, and I think the biggest difference has been their defense. I thought they were going to be one of the league's best defenses, and they haven't, and they've been particularly poor at guarding the three-pointer, and we all know that that's the Celtics' bread and butter. And there were moments where it's like, if Porzingis is going to get a wide open top of the key three, this is not a series that the Celtics are going to be fearful heading into. And I think they're going to have to adjust some of their game plans because some of them, like including that, just kind of letting that pick and pop happen, I don't think that's sustainable in the long term. But yeah, right now, and there's still time to go, and plenty of things can change and have changed in the past from now till the playoffs, but they don't look like a team that is, very formidable for Boston.
They entered this game 18th in defense, completely obliterated by the Cavs too in their prior game. And they were 0-6 entering this one, now 0-7 against the top 2 seeds in the East and West. And so quality opponents a problem for them. Defense, there's so many guys you can go at.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of flexibility or depth on this roster. They were playing 3 guards who didn't look like they belonged out there in this game in their second unit. So there's a ton to look at there and say, ooh, it's just not good for them. It's not a good matchup against Boston. But I'm not going to rule them out entirely. Mitchell Robinson, he's not the kind of player who's going to change this entirely, but he does change them positionally and depth-wise. Slides Towns over the 4 where he probably belongs, and is such a physical force out there that it would put the Celtics in a different position if he comes back from the ankle surgery here. He's missed the entire season so far. And come playoff time, these games have been competitive enough possession to possession, just based on how they can both score, how they can both defend each other a little bit for stretches, that I don't rule out every game being good in a series. I just rule out right now the Knicks being able to beat the Celtics in a series.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think they can definitely give them a better fight than we've seen.
Good home court too.
Yeah, but the reality is that good home court. But I think a lot of teams also love playing in Madison Square Garden, so it's a good home court for the road teams in a way too. But yeah, the reality is I think what they've demonstrated to me at least is that you can't hide poor defenders with good defenders. Like in today's NBA, and you're playing against elite teams, the Celtics have 5 offensive options almost always, right? Guys that can space the floor, guys that can drive, guys that can do a lot of different things. And so even if you have OG Anunoby, who is one of the best, wing defenders in the NBA, and I think that he individually is going to make life miserable for whoever he's guarding, it doesn't change the fact that you have Jalen Brunson, Cat pick and rolls. Like that's going to be a reality of your team down the stretch in big moments because those are their 2 best players. So you look at other teams, like Celtics don't have those defensive holes on their roster, and it's really hard to overcompensate for them, and I think that's going to give them trouble against any really good team in the playoffs. I don't want to say only because even Indiana, like we've talked about how kind of their randomness has caused issues, and even last year they were the toughest matchup. The Bucks, they're kind of a new team now with Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. I haven't watched them too much since the trade, but I'm not going to count anybody out. But right now it's very clear that this is a 2-team race for the East, and it's the Celtics and the Cavs, and I would be very surprised if a different team came out of the East outside of those 2.
I'm looking at the Cavs pretty solidly now, especially after DeAndre Hunter's addition and that overwhelming win. And they're probably going to be the 1 seed now too, as they keep racking off wins here. So they're coming up on Friday. I can't wait for that one. 3rd or 4th meeting, right, between the Celtics and Cavs at this point. And first, Celtics going on a 2-game road trip back-to-back here, Detroit on Wednesday, Toronto first on Tuesday. So we'll have coverage of that here on CLNS Media and Celtics All Access. For Noah Dalzell, I'm Bobby Manning. Celtics roll through the Knicks again and move to 3-0 on the season against New York.